Hello everyone. Our today's topic is basics in electricity. When I talk about electricity, what comes in your mind first? A lightning or the bulbs? Electricity we use in our house, and we cannot imagine life without electricity. We need electricity. Also, you must have encountered with any electric shock ever? If yes, do you remember that specific incident where you encountered with the shock? There are two chances. One is in the winters, if you are pulling your sweater or you touch any metal knob or you are sitting on a plastic chair, suddenly stand up and touch any metal thing, you get a shock for a fraction of a second. The next moment you try to get the shock, nothing happens. This is static electricity. But some of you might have encountered with AC shock. By any chance, if we are playing with the wires or sockets in our house, sometimes we get shock, but that shock is very dangerous. Never try to attempt to get such shock purposefully. Accidentally, if it happens, it is very dangerous to our body. But that shock is very severe. But if I tell you that shock is dangerous, but the voltage is 230 volt in our house, still it is dangerous. But the shock you get in winters by touching any metal knob or any plastic chair, that shock is around 1 to 1.5 lakh volt. Yes, I repeat, that shock is 1 to 1.5 lakh volt. Still, you enjoy that shock. But you cannot enjoy the shock in our AC socket, which is life threatening. What is the difference? Here comes the current. So, up till now I was talking about the voltage. Now your life depends on the current, how much electricity is flowing there. Static electricity, you have very less electrons on that surface. So all the electrons drained from your body to the ground, it ends. But in AC socket, it is a current electricity. Electrons are flowing continuously in the line, in the live wire, and those electrons are flowing through your body, which damages your muscles. That is why that AC supply or AC shock is dangerous to us. I repeat here again, children, never try to attempt to get such shocks, or even when you're not actually allowed to play with electricity, AC sockets. Never put anything in AC sockets. Always ask your parents to handle the AC sockets. But electricity is fascinating. You love to switch on, switch off the bulbs. So when it makes on, makes off, you like it. Or even now in rainy season, you must have seen a lot of lightning happening outside. Sometimes that lightning is also dangerous if it reaches the ground. You must have heard the news that some people died or some animals died because of lightning. When it touches the ground, lightning has lot of power in it. And today we will learn all basics about electricity, and let's have a fun learning these things and performing many experiments. Normally, when you see or hear electricity thunderstorm, what do? You go to the safer place inside house. But there was a person who thought to bring this electricity down on the earth. He performed this experiment in 1752. His name was Ben Franklin. What he did, he was flying a kite with thread. He attached one key to that kite and flight that kite high in the sky. And he thought if he can bring that electricity using the wet thread, and because of that iron key, electricity might reach to his hand. And he was successful to get the charge using that key and thread. This is very famous experiment in history. It is really interesting to see history of electricity. In 1780s, there was a person in medical science who said he can generate electricity using frogs. And he showed it. He kept one frog on the table, attached some wires, and he could get shock. Everyone was surprised to get shock from the frog. And Galvani believed that electricity is coming from the animal muscles in the pelvis. There is one person who do not believe Luigi Galvani. He believed that electricity cannot come from frog or any animal. But in science, you cannot say other person wrong. Because if you have to prove other person wrong, you have to prove him wrong by performing or showing some experiments only. And he started experimenting day and night. He succeeded in 1800, 20 years after Galvani's announcement that he created electricity from frog. In 1800, that person came with his successful experiment, and then he said Galvani was wrong. Frog cannot generate electricity. There is an electrolyte medium, and we can generate electricity by putting two electrodes of different metals in that electrolyte medium. And he came up with first battery. Battery was invented in 1800. Today you can imagine life without battery? No. Battery has become the most essential part of our life. And that battery was invented by none other than Alessandro Volta. This is how electricity is generated in any battery for the first time. People started using this battery for many experiments. And very important observation was made in 1820 by Hans Christian Ørsted, that we today all know is the magnetic effect of electric current. What he observed, he was preparing for his evening lecture with electric circuit, and very fortunately he kept one magnetic compass near to its electric circuit. When he switched on the circuit, he observed that that magnetic needle is deflected from its original position, that is north and south. He was amazed. But he knew that magnetic needle can deflect only by another magnet. So he searched for magnet under table, is there any magnet or something, but he didn't found any magnet which can attract or repel the needle in the magnetic compass. Meantime, he switched off the circuit and he observed the needle again came back in its original position. Here he was very much surprised to see the connection between making electric circuit on and off. So he switched on the circuit, he took that needle closer to the circuit, deflection was more. He took that compass away from the circuit, deflection was reduced, and at certain point there was no deflection in the needle. So he concluded that there is an invisible force which caused the movement of magnet or compass, and that force is coming when electricity is passing through a conductor. Today all we know that when electricity passes through any conductor, it produces magnetism around it, and today we know that as an electromagnet. This story of electricity continues, and one of the finest and genius scientists came into picture. He used Alexander Volta's battery and electromagnetic force principle observed by Oersted and created world's first simple motor and generator. With the help of you can generate electricity. Yes, that person was Michael Faraday. He invented generator. By that time, we were only generating electricity using Volta's battery, which has very limited current and voltage. But using generator, now we can generate electricity of higher voltage and big current ratings. Michael Faraday contributed a lot in today's electricity. Because of him only we are able to generate electricity, his generator. Though Faraday invented generator, but nobody understood the importance of electricity. It is just because at that time there was no electrical appliances people were using on electricity. So many people make a fun of Faraday as well. There is a famous story as well. Faraday presented his demonstration electricity generation in front of the Queen, and that Queen asked him, what is the use of this electricity? Faraday replied to the Queen, ma'am, you are holding that boy. What is the use of that baby? That Queen got angry. She asked Faraday, how you can say like this? What is the use of my boy? Then Faraday replied, this electricity is my child. And even today you are not using anything on electricity, but in future your government will collect tax for electricity. And today we know that how we are paying for electricity. This commercialization came with Edison. Though people from 1835 people started inventing different electrical appliances which can run on electricity, but the real success comes with the company General Electricity Corporation, founded by Thomas Alva Edison. And in 1879 they introduced commercial carbon filament bulb, and that is the time when electricity reaches to home. By that time, electricity was just used in laboratories or in public places. People were not using electricity at home for lighting. But with the introduction of commercial carbon filament bulb which could give constant light, people started using electricity at home, and GE, you all must have seen the logo of GE company. That GE, General Electrical Corporation, was formed by Thomas Alva Edison in 18th century, and they commercialized different products. They invented many products which can run on electricity. So General Electrical Corporation was generating electricity using generators, and at the same time they were busy in inventing products which will run on electricity. Edison's company was generating and distributing DC supply, direct current, means which has polarity. But there was one genius who was not in favor of distributing DC type of supply. He was very much in favor of supplying and also of course generating AC supply, and he designed a generator which could give you AC current, alternate current, and he believed its power of AC supply, it can be distributed to a longer distance with high efficiency. And he was Nikola Tesla. Unfortunately, his designs, his thoughts were neglected at that time. And even today, many of us are not aware about the work done, rather I would say a fabulous work done by Nikola Tesla. He proposed AC dynamo. Even at that time, he proposed wireless power transfer. Now this term is, now you are familiar with wireless power transfer. You're using Wi-Fi at home, getting signal without any wires. One day will come that we will get electricity without wires. As you enter the room, you connect your device with Wi-Fi to get internet signals. Similarly, you will charge your phones without wires. But in 2020, we are talking about this. Nikola Tesla showed wireless power transfer in 1888. At that time, he distributed or transferred electrical power without any wires. And his work was very fabulous. Unfortunately, we neglected his work. So that is all about history of electricity. But what is electricity? Electricity is a natural phenomenon that occurs throughout the nature and takes many different forms. As all we know that energy can be transferred from one form into another form. But you must be wondering how electricity flows through wires, how we light up LEDs, how we can spin the motors using electricity, or how we can power the communication devices or the rest of the electrical appliances, how we use all those electrical appliances. For that, we have to see the minute structure of a matter. Basically, electricity is nothing but a flow of electric charge from one place to another place. When electron moves from one place to another place, we call it as electricity, a flow of electrons. For that, you have to see the structure of atom. All we know that protons and neutrons are in this atom at the center, nucleus, and electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Electrons have negative charge, protons have positive charge, and neutrons do not have any charge. When opposite charges, they attract each other, and like charges, like positive positive or negative negative charges, they will repel each other. And these electrical charges, the SI unit of electric charge is Coulomb, and it is written as capital C. Around in 1785, Charles Coulomb proposed one law of attraction and repulsion that we all know, that Coulomb's law. The magnitude of electrostatic force of attraction or repulsion between 2 points is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So here you can see if Q1 and Q2 are two charges, here we are not sure how much charge they hold or what charge they have. But if we have 2 points with the Q1 and Q2 charges and R is the distance in between them, so either they will attract or repel with a force, and that formula is given, F is equal to K. K is a constant, Q1 Q2 divided by distance square, R square. This is very much similar to Newton's gravitational law or gravitational force between two objects, which is again the multiplication of mass of the objects divided by square of the distance in between them. This is very surprising. Now, Coulomb do not know the charge of the particles of electrons or protons. In 1909, Robert Millikan performed lot of experiments to find out what is the actual charge these particles hold. And this is a very famous experiment which is called as the oil drop experiment, was performed by Robert Millikan and Harvey Fletcher to measure the elementary electrical charges on particles. And what they found, these figures, even in 2020 we are using these figures. This was the most precise calculation done by Millikan. And now onwards we will use these figures for our calculations. So the charge on proton and electron is same. Only proton hold positive charge and electron holds negative charge. Neutrons, they do not have any charge. Proton holds positive charge of 1.602 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb of charge, whereas electron holds the same charge, minus 1.602 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulombs. But there is a difference between mass of proton and electron and size as well. If you see, the mass of one proton is 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 27 kilograms, whereas electrons have very negligible mass in comparison with proton, that is 9.11 into 10 raised to minus 31 kilograms. So remember, this charge, what we talk about, protons or electron holes, is measured by Robert Millikan, and we will use this charge in our calculations. Now let us see few terms used in electricity. The first you come across will be potential difference. Potential difference or PD measured in voltage V. The potential difference across 2 points in a circuit is 1 volt if 1 joule of work done in moving 1 coulomb of charge from one point to another. So V is equal to W by Q. W is the work done to move 1 coulomb of charge from one point to another. So you can write 1 volt is equal to 1 joule divided by 1 coulomb of charge. To understand this in better, we will see water analogy. On your left side, you have a tank filled with water. There is no outlet. So you have water stored in the tank. Is the charge holding any battery? That is also called as an electromotive force, EMF. Unless you have outlet, there will be no pressure. So if you see the right hand image, we have one outlet. So water can flow from that point. This is the potential difference between the upper level and lower level where water is flowing. And as soon as water starts flowing, there is a current. So unless there is a current, there is no voltage. Otherwise you have just charge in the battery. That is also called as an electromotive force. So again remember, V is equal to W by Q. 1 volt is equal to 1 joule divided by 1 coulomb. Now let us see more about current. In this tank on the left hand side, it is filled with water. So it has certain pressure. Pressure is nothing but at what pressure that water is coming out. That is voltage. But the hose, if you take a 1-inch hole size, the amount of water flowing through it is a current. if you make that hose bigger, say 3 inch or 4 inch, more water will come out. It means more current is flowing in the circuit. So voltage remains the same, but you change the amount of water by changing size of the hose. Similarly, you can change the current. If you see, we have different size of wires used in different appliances. For example, in geyser you use thick copper wire because the current rating of geyser is higher. So that board is also a 15 ampere board. So 15 ampere current is flowing through that wire, which is a very big current. Whereas in domestic circuit we use thinner wire where less current is flowing. So current is nothing but a flow amount of electrons passing through circuit in 1 second. And in the right hand image you see a word resistance. We will discuss more about resistance in next session. So basically what makes these charges flow? For this we need to understand the atom again. We have electrons moving in shells around the nucleus. How we can make these electrons move from one atom to another, or these charges from one place to another place? For that we need these free electrons or electrons in free state. All metals are good conductors because they have these electrons in the outermost shell are in free state. Whereas non-conductors or insulators or bad conductors, they do not have these electrons in free state. Electrons in atoms can act as our charge carrier because every electron carries a negative charge. And if we can free an electron from an atom and force it to move, we can create electricity. And we use conductors from which this electricity pass through. Let us see few more water analogy images. Look at this image. What is in there? You can see. Yes, the water level in both the tank is same. It means both tanks having same potential difference. But now look at the hose size. On the left hand side, water stream is thinner and other one is thicker. So in this case, voltage is same but current is different. Let us see another image. Here you can see the potential difference is different. Left hand side image have high potential difference, means high voltage, high pressure, but the current is same. If you keep this tap open, all water will be drained through the tank, and at one point there will be no water in the tank. So no voltage, no current. But this is not the case in regular current electricity. It has to be have in closed circuit loop. Then only electrons will flow. If you see any battery, it has two terminals, positive and negative. Electrons flow from negative terminal to positive terminal. But in convention, we use or we show that electrons flow from positive to negative direction on negative terminal of the battery. In order to flow, current electricity requires a circuit, a closed, never-ending loop of conductive material. Then only electrons flow from the circuit, and whatever electrical appliances we put in circuit, it works. Whether it may be a bulb or buzzer or fan, it works. So what is electric current? The definition of electric current is if 1 ampere is defined as the current that flows with an electric charge of 1 coulomb per second through any cross section of the wire. If you see this image, 1 coulomb of charge is traveling in 1 second through any cross section of the wire is referred as an electric current, and it is measured in ampere and denoted by I. So I is equal to Q by T. I is a current, Q is the charge, which is 1 coulomb, divided by T time, which is 1 second. We know that charge on one electron is minus 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. So when 1 coulomb of charge travels in 1 second through any cross section of wire, how many electrons are flowing? That we will find out. For that we will write an equation. Q is equal to N by E. 1 coulomb charge is equal to N is a number of electrons, and charge on 1 electron is minus 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. In this sum, positive minus 1.6 or minus 1.6 doesn't matter, because we are here referring just a number minus 1.6 or plus 1.6. So N is equal to 1 divided by 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. If you solve this, you will get a number. N is equal to 6.25 into 10 raised to 18 electrons. Mind you, this is a very, very, very big number. It means when you say 1 coulomb of charge, it means that these many electrons are there flowing through any cross section in 1 second. In simple terms, when you say you have 1 ampere current flowing through the wire, it means that these many electrons, 6.25 into 10 raised to 18 number of electrons are flowing through the wire when you say 1 ampere current is there. And in house we are using up to 15 ampere current for refrigerators or geysers. And you must have seen they have big sockets and thick wires. Why thick wires? Because there should be more space for electrons to travel, like you have to a big highway for electrons. So when you say 15 ampere current, it means that 15 into 6.25 into 10 raised to 18 number of electrons are flowing through that wire. And you cannot imagine when you get a shock from 15 ampere line, it is a life threatening, and you can imagine how many electrons are flowing through your body in 1 second. So here we will see one sum. The current of 4 ampere is flowing in the conductor for 5 minutes. We have to find the charge. So here I is equal to 4 amperes current. Then it is time t is for 5 minutes, means 300 seconds. So the formula is Q is equal to IT. 4 into 300 is equal to 1200 coulomb is the charge flowing through the conductor. These are the symbols to show in circuit diagram for batteries in series, closed switch, open switch. You can see real things and their symbols. This is how it looks when you make any circuit on board. There are many bulbs, batteries, switch, many things you put on the board. But when it comes to circuit diagram drawing, you have to denote with your symbols. So for example, I make a simple switch. The board look like this. If you see below, it is the circuit diagram for simple switch. So battery is connected in series, a switch, and bulb is denoted by a resistor because bulb is a resistor. If we see another diagram, 3 bulbs are connected in series. So if you see R1, R2, R3 resistors, they are connected in series. And there is one switch only, and we are using batteries in series. So this is how you have to draw circuit diagrams. Now it's up to you that whatever circuit diagrams or whatever connections you are making on the board, try to draw circuit diagrams in the notebook. Happy exploring, and we will meet in next session to see more about resistors and Ohm's law.